I'm ready.
Hey now. Check one. Give me one.
1,
2,
2,
3,
3,
4,
4,
6. 6. Okay. Hey, we're live. Check it out.
It's working this time.
Check it out now. We're both wearing Bret Hart shirts. We did not coordinate this. This is just because we love Bret Hart so much.
Yeah, it just happens to work out that way.
That's right. Bret Hart is the greatest wrestler to ever live. And if you don't believe us, just ask him.
Despite what apparently the WWE locker room thinks of Bret Hart.
Yeah, what was that? Okay, that happened this week, right?
It did happen.
Let's get to some Bret defending right off the bat. Let's take it up for the Hitman one time. Seth Rollins was asked about Bret Hart calling him unsafe in the ring, right?
Because of the knee to John Cena.
Because of the knee to Cena's face that broke his nose, and maybe also because of when he powerbombed Finn Balor and busted his shoulder.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, Seth's got a record, yeah.
Yeah, of course, Seth's got a record. So Bret spoke up and said, hey, this guy's hurting people. I, Bret Hart, never hurt anybody because I'm the Hitman and I'm the greatest wrestler that ever lived. You know, my brother Owen was a pretty good wrestler, too.
That was a huge thing for Bret, though. He didn't hurt his opponents. Like, he was so good.
That's right.
But he didn't hurt anybody.
He never hurt anybody.
I think he may have broken Vader's nose or something, though, one time. But I think that was also Vader's fault because he moved.
It was definitely Vader's fault. It was definitely not Bret's fault, okay? I'm just going to tweet out the link to the show. So, Seth Rollins said, I'm Seth Rollins, and we just kind of laughed off Bret Hart's comments. We don't take it seriously, whatever. It's like, hey, man, that's Bret Hart. Show some damn respect, Seth Rollins, and take a little accountability for your actions. Like, you kneed John Cena in the face, and you broke his nose. That wasn't supposed to happen. You screwed up. Is that being a safe wrestler? Doesn't seem that safe to me. So show some respect to Bret Hart because he's a million times the wrestler that you could ever hope to be.
Well, I can understand why the locker room would defend Seth because they know him. They see him every week. Bret, they just probably have heard about Bret. They've seen his matches. So there's not that connection they have with Seth Rollins. It's like setting up your brother in a sense.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I understand the WWE locker room saying, "Oh, Seth, it's okay. You're not unsafe. You're a totally safe wrestler, and I would wrestle with you, and that's all fine and good." But you look at Seth's record. He's hurt a couple dudes.
Well, I think there's a difference between standing up for your brother and just completely being blind to the situation. Like, he injured somebody, and he injured someone again, and someone who's a legend in the business is telling you, hey, there's a problem here, and you just dismiss it as it's off the wall, what a joke. I think there's something wrong with your thinking if you think that way.
Yeah, maybe you should think, hey, maybe Bret Hart is onto something. Maybe I should listen to the Hitman. This coming from two dudes wearing Bret Hart shirts just because that's how we roll every day. Well, we're biased. We are biased towards Bret, right? I mean, I was talking to you before the show even started. I was like, man, we disagree on a lot of things here, but the one thing we can agree on is Bret Hart is number one greatest wrestler of all time. And we always agree on that. Always. Always. Bret, I know you're watching. We love you. You're still the greatest of all time. And anybody that wants to debate that with me, don't even try. I don't want to hear it. And don't tell me Shawn Michaels. Don't tell me Ric Flair.
Or Triple H?
Yeah, right. I don't think anybody's making that argument. Is anybody seriously making the argument that Triple H is the greatest wrestler of all time?
I'm sure his kids would.
I don't think they would. I think they're Shawn Michaels fans, just like he is. They'd probably say him or Shawn or Rick. Andy Burroughs, our boy out in England, checking in. Ric Flair is the most overrated wrestler ever. And then Arbs checks in. What's up, Arbs? Haven't seen you before. Bret is the greatest. I agree. Greatest of all time. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be.
Let's just remember, too, that they had the opportunity to have Bret as one of the trainers in NXT. He offered his services, and they declined Triple H and Vince, yet they got Shawn instead. So that's the way they do business, WWE.
Well, it's pretty obvious that the WWE are not big fans of Bret. Where was Bret at the Raw 25th anniversary show?
He was getting surgery, if not mistaken.
Oh,
His
was
hand
he?
surgery. He talked about that, too.
Oh,
That's why.
okay. But still, they don't bring Bret out that much, you know? When they need to sell tickets at the Bell Center here in Montreal, they might try to bring Bret out, but other than that...
They'll get Pat Patterson instead.
Pat Patterson doesn't draw money like Bret Hart does. Bret Hart still draws money in this city, at least. I think in this whole country. You say Bret Hart's on the bill, people are going to show up just to see Bret Hart. That's a fact. Bret Hart is still legend status in this country. I don't know what the feeling is in the United States or whatever, but in Canada, Bret Hart is still a major draw. Bret Hart puts asses in seats, brother.
I agree. It's just a shame that apparently if you're critical and you don't go with the flow of what WWE is selling you, apparently you get blackballed because of that. And that's what's happened to Bret, which sucks.
That's how it works.
Well, it shouldn't work that way. But
when's the last time you saw the Steve Austin podcast on the WWE Network?
That's true. Yeah, but he still gets WWE superstars, though.
Yeah. Not as many as he used to.
No. But he doesn't need them, though.
Edge and Christian do. And they're not very critical of the WWE. They're pretty positive on their show. It's a good show, but it's just not... they're not critiquing a guy like Seth Rollins, like Bret Hart does, or maybe Steve Austin would. Like, have we seen Steve Austin do a podcast on the WWE Network since he dressed down Dean Ambrose on that interview? He's like, I'm not seeing it, son. You need to bring it. You know?
I remember.
That was fantastic. Ambrose is like, I thought I was bringing it. Nope. You suck, Dean Ambrose. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
What did Andy say over there?
Bret Hart, hands down, best ever in the ring, no one better. And he says, top 3 all-time lads and why. He wants to know our top 3 wrestlers of all time and why. That is pretty tough. I would say, off the bat, Bret, Jericho, Kurt Angle. Bret, because just mostly all 3 of them, the reason is because their matches were just amazing. Every match you saw was fantastic. I don't think any of those guys ever had a really bad match that's just unwatchable. They always went out there and gave 100% to have the best match possible. None of those guys ever phoned it in a single time in their entire careers. Kurt Angle, I mean, as legit as they come, delivered in the ring. Didn't have a super long career, but just incredible. Bret Hart speaks for itself. And Chris Jericho, you look at what he's done, the body of work. I think you're kidding yourself if you don't say Chris Jericho is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. So that's my top 3. Bret, Jericho, Angle. 2 Canadians, and Olympic gold medalist.
I'll agree with Bret and Jericho without question. I think they're not my number 1 and 2. Instead of Angle, I'd go Benoit. Now, I know in terms of promos, maybe not so much, but in terms of wrestling...
How about in terms of murder?
Okay, in terms of wrestling, we're talking
How about let's not...
top wrestlers. Okay, wrestling.
Fuck. Here we go. I knew this was going to happen.
What, I can't say Benoit? Like, that's been censored on Wrestling Uncensored? Come on.
So Chris Benoit's in your top 3 of all time?
In terms of wrestling, yeah. It's wrestlers, yeah. Without question.
Just put Eddie Guerrero in there instead, man.
Benoit, I thought Benoit was more entertaining than Eddie Guerrero.
How about Rob Van Dam?
Yeah, Van Dam's up there too.
He's one of my favorite of all time. Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko. Some of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Dory says Seth's comments on Bret, ridiculous. I agree. And he also says top 3, Triple H, Bret, and Undertaker.
There you go, Triple H fans.
And Andy goes, Triple H, what? I'm kind of surprised that you have Triple H in your top 3 of all time. I feel like, he's had some really good matches, but that thing I said about you couldn't find one bad match about the other 3 guys I mentioned, Brett, Jericho, and Angle, there's a lot of bad Triple H matches. There's a lot of bad Triple H matches in big spots, and I think that's what hurts Triple H's legacy, is that he's had WrestleMania main events that were absolute garbage. He's had some incredible matches. He's had some great matches, with Mick Foley, with The Undertaker, with Shawn Michaels. He's had some really good matches with The Rock. Triple H is a really good wrestler. I'm not going to say he's a bad wrestler, but he's had some really bad matches with Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Batista. And, of course, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, and Batista aren't much to work with, but Triple H really couldn't bring the best out of them like a Daniel Bryan could. And give me another year or two, and Daniel Bryan might be in my top 3, because he's right up there, too. Can't forget about my man D. Bry, who was amazing on SmackDown this week, which we'll talk about.
That was hit and miss, I thought, on SmackDown.
You didn't like that thing where he was doing the cane thing? That was the best thing I've seen on SmackDown in months. It was hilarious. Best finish to a WWE show in a very long time.
Yeah, the finish was fine. I just thought the opening promo felt a little awkward, though. And the brawling, too. It just seemed it was off. But we'll get to that.
Dory says Triple H has had the best character development over the years. And, yeah, he's had good character development over the years, but he's been given that spotlight to develop the character more than most. So it's he's done stuff, but a lot of it has pretty much been the game. He hasn't really changed. He comes out at the leather jacket and with the time to play the game music, he spits the water. I don't know. He's more corporate now, but that's just reflecting his real life. I don't feel like the character's developed that much in the past 10 years, really.
Entrance-wise, no. It seems like it's the same entrance all the time. But you got to give him credit, longevity. That's hard in wrestling. The fact that he lasted for so long. You can say he had some bad matches, but he's had a lot of matches.
He tailor-made the WWE at a certain point to make everybody slow down so that they could wrestle for longer. He changed the way WWE wrestlers wrestle because he had power in the company so that he could extend his career. And he wrestled a very slow style with very low risk for a very long time on top, and it was awful to watch. I'm sorry, Triple H is great and all, but, man, he's had some terrible years. The McMahon-Helmsley era? Come on, man. Triple H on top, feuding with Randy. Evolution? Evolution? I don't care what the WWE tries to tell you about Evolution. Evolution sucked. It was terrible. You want to see Triple H and Randy Orton main event pay-per-view after pay-per-view? Go back and watch those matches in 2006, 2007, 2008. It was trash. Guys shouldn't have been on top. I'm sorry. Go back and listen to old Ringside Report Radio, and you'll be able to hear me talk about it. Or old Wrestling Uncensored, I guess, at this point. We're almost 400 episodes in, but I was not a fan of that era of Triple H. I think he hurt the wrestling business quite a bit back then.
More so Evolution. McMahon-Helmsley, I didn't think that was that bad, really.
But the Evolution era,
Oh, that was horrible. That was Triple H in God mode. That shouldn't have happened, but it did. Because
that shouldn't have happened. And how long did we have to sit through that? That hurts the legacy of Triple H. DX Triple H, cool. Second part DX Triple H with Shawn and Vince loves cock and all that stuff, putting Vince's head in Big Show's ass. Come on, man. That was terrible. He did some rough, really bad stuff. The Spirit Squad? Do you want to revisit the Triple H and Shawn versus Vince and the Spirit Squad? Go back and watch that. Oh, goodness. Dory says Evolution was okay at most. He says everyone has bad times. Daniel Bryan and Team Hell No, he hates it. Well, it's not going to last long, Dory. Don't worry about it. I actually like it. I think it's funny. I think Bryan and Kane work very well together. They have great chemistry. Daniel Bryan can't do anything wrong.
Kane seems a little sluggish, though, unfortunately. I feel like this might be the end of Kane.
Well, yeah. He's like 50 years old and a mayor. I mean,
He's going to be a mayor.
Yeah, he's got other stuff to do. This is the end of Kane. This is like one final run. Have a little match with the Bludgeons at the pay-per-view with Bryan. It's just a little in-between program for Bryan before he goes on to whatever at SummerSlam. And I'm not really sure what that's going to be, but
It's one of two things, it seems. It's either Daniel Bryan Miz, because it kind of teased that a bit on SmackDown, or Kane's going to turn on him at the pay-per-view, and they're going to have that match to end it for them.
You want to see Kane Bryan at SummerSlam?
I don't.
I don't.
I'd rather see The Miz, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Which says something, right? Andy says he's got a split opinion on Undertaker. He says he's a legend, but his matches have never done it for him. I think Undertaker's matches are mostly good, but a lot of them are like, okay. Undertaker's a great character. You want to talk about his character development, that's been pretty cool. Even though he's basically the same as he always has been, there's been subtle changes throughout the years. But yeah, I agree with that. I feel like Taker definitely has had some great matches, especially in the later years. But early Undertaker was pretty simple. There wasn't anything that you could really sink your teeth into. But again, he was given some pretty bad opponents.
Well, early Undertaker, when he wrestled Brett, those are some of the best Undertaker matches in his early years.
Early, like 90...
That's probably actually late 90s, but still.
Yeah, that's not that early Undertaker. Undertaker debuted in 91.
Well, it's early Undertaker if you look at to now.
Yeah. So you're talking about like 97, 96, 97?
Yeah.
Yeah, that era Undertaker was, I think, one of the best as far as his in-ring stuff.
Well, wrestling Brett, it doesn't hurt you whatsoever. He also has some very good matches with Shawn, and people can say what they want. You just said about Triple H. It's one of his best matches was him and Triple H, Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, like at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I mean about Triple H. Like, he can still go. Maybe not anymore. I think he's getting towards the point where he can't really anymore.
He looks very slow in that ring now.
Yeah. And that makes sense. The guy is,
He's getting up there. Yeah, he's close to 50.
Yeah. But he's, even in his recent years, Triple H can still have great matches. Like, I don't want to say, especially, I don't want to say anything too bad about Triple H. You never know. I know Stephanie's a listener of Wrestling Uncensored, so I don't want her telling Hunter what I said. But he's a great wrestler. I just wouldn't put him in my top 5 of all time. Andy says we need to do a countdown show that would split everyone top 10. Like top 10 greatest wrestler, and then top 10 what? Like, I don't know. What would we do?
What's the criteria?
Yeah, give us some categories you want us to fill top 10, and we'll do that. We'll do a special show. I'm into that. Why not? So, John, I want to wrap this pre-show up. I don't want to do an hour like last week. It was crazy. We've done a lot of wrestling talk in the pre-show, which is kind of rare, right? I know I was asked to break down the Pedro and family Chantel fight from 90 Day Fiancé. Did you see that?
I saw a clip of it, yeah.
It's pretty good. Not much to break down. Basically, the River, who's Chantel's brother, was talking smack to Pedro. They were going back and forth. It was mostly Chantel's mother that was instigating the whole thing. She was questioning Pedro's sister and saying that Pedro's sister and Chantel don't get along. And River started saying some things, and Pedro pointed at Chantel's mother, which River took exception to. And then River said some things, and Pedro's like, "What you say? What you say?" And then River hit a light at Pedro. Pedro deflected the light, and then he went and he brawled with River. The whole family got involved. Chantel's father seemed to just want to eat the dinner, And then when Pedro kicked the food off the table, he's like, "Why'd you do that, Pedro?" The only time Thomas, Chantel's father, opened his mouth was when Pedro kicked the food off the table. I don't know, man. Apparently Pedro and Chantel are still together, but it was a pretty crazy fight on 90 Day Fiancé. I'm telling you, this show is really fun to watch. I'm really enjoying it this season. It's crazy.
Didn't River take 2 people down with him? I want to say it was Pedro's sister, I think. It just fell and they just all went down.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a big tumble. The mother fell down, the sister fell down. I think the sister lost her extensions. It's crazy.
Well, no one helped her up too. I noticed that as well. No one really cares.
No one's trying to help her up because she's on Team Pedro and they're on Team Chantel. Family Chantel. Crazy. Dory, the answer to your question is because we had a technical problem with the podcast. We couldn't upload it to the site, which I hope doesn't happen on this thing. We had a technical issue. So if you want to watch the UFC 226 post-show, it's on YouTube only. All right? Check out our YouTube channel. Sorry. We had a problem.
I found it very enjoyable to watch on YouTube, actually.
Yeah?
You can still just listen to it as well, but you can also watch it.
Yeah. You can watch it on YouTube, myself and AJ.
I actually thought it was a lot more enjoyable to watch it because at points it just got completely ridiculous. You guys stopped talking about UFC, and I think AJ just started farting as well. So
I don't think he did.
He didn't?
No.
I felt like something happened. There was an excuse me at one point. You guys were talking about...
Oh, I burped.
Oh, you burped, okay. I know there's some gas somewhere. Shenanigans. Absolute shenanigans.
Yeah, it was pure shenanigans. We started off talking about the UFC for the first half of the show, and then the second half was just nonsense. I don't even remember what we talked about. It was 2 a.m. You gotta you gotta remember it's 2 a.m. on a Saturday night right after a UFC pay-per-view. It's been a long night, and then you put AJ and I on YouTube, and things can go awry.
It was good, though. I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it.
Yeah, okay, good. I don't really remember. Maybe it's good it's not uploaded to a podcast. Maybe it's good it's just YouTube, You don't want to spread it around too much. Antoinette says the mom, Chantel's mother, is holding the weave. Yeah, I think it was Pedro's sister, Nicole's weave. It's crazy. And, John, you had a story you wanted to tell? Something about your birthday? You had a crazy story for the podcast? And you had a movie review. So, what's going on here?
Well, let's just talk about the new movie, The Rock's movie, Skyscraper.
Well, you had a story. I want to know the story.
Oh, the story's kind of crazy. I don't know if we have time for the story, unfortunately.
No, we have time.
We have time for it?
If it's good,
is it good?
You teased a story on Twitter.
Yeah, I did.
Follow him on Twitter at North Genesis. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Dave Simon MMA.
So I went to bed around 5 p.m., woke up around 5 a.m. I slept a really long time, and the dream was that I had died, and it was life after I had died, and I was seeing all the people who went to my funeral.
Are you telling us a dream?
Yeah.
You had a dream.
Yeah.
That's your crazy story? You had a dream?
Yeah.
Is this Johnny North dream time on the pre-show? Is this really what we're doing here? You kidding me? I thought you had an actual story.
It is a story.
That's not a story. You had a dream. No one cares about your dream. Don't tell this story.
Okay. Can I talk about The Rock's movie?
Yeah.
All right, Skyscraper. A lot of fun. Great action.
Do you want to tell the story?
Well,
all right, tell the story.
The story was, I'm at my funeral.
Anthony Plessia says, I care.
I'm glad you care. Thank you. At least someone cares.
So he wants to know the story. Do you guys want to hear the story? You want to hear John's story? Comment right now on YouTube. Tell me. Antoinette, Andy, do you want to hear John's story about his dream? I don't really. Dory says yes. Okay, fine. 2 votes for yes so far. I mean, it's happening. Let's go.
So I'm at
Andy says yes. All right, they all want to hear the story, John.
Great.
So you're at your funeral. Yeah.
And I'm looking to see all the people there. And who's not there? This guy. This guy's not there.
I would definitely be there.
No, you're actually in your living room and just eating a candy bar. And, you're not going.
That sounds like a good plan instead. Why am I not going?
You're enjoying your Snickers instead. Because you had the information to go.
I'm having a Snickers?
Because I guess I remember you guys talking about it on the...
When I gave out Snickers. Everybody gets a Snickers on Ringside Report Radio.
And I think I may have been listening to that episode before I went to bed.
So that's why I was in your dream, because you were thinking about me and Snickers.
Yeah, I think I fell asleep listening to the episode, so that's why, yeah. You love your Snickers, I guess, more
so
than
that's
me.
the dream?
Oh, there's a bit more that happens, too, but it gets even crazier, so I don't know.
Let's go. They want to hear it.
Well, I feel terrible that, you do this, so I check up on your son, seeing how he is.
Oh, okay.
He's Teen Zev, by the way. Remember we talked about Teen Zev, by the way? So
he's a teen at this point?
He's a teen at this point. I don't die like tomorrow or anything. I die like years from now. Like, come on.
Years from now. But still, if he's a teen, you're still like dying in your 40s.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
It's not good.
No.
Antoinette says, death means good things ahead, Johnny. And Andy says, great story, but he's doing some eye-rolling emojis. Andy's not impressed with your story. I'm not impressed with your story either. It's kind of weird. Anyway, whatever. Anthony says you're the most interesting man in wrestling, though. So, I don't know. Split opinions. Okay, so Teen Zev, what's he doing?
Well, he's trying to get lucky.
Oh, okay. This is weird, man. I don't want to hear the rest of this story. This is just strange. Andy says he loves you.
I love you too, Andy. Appreciate it.
And Dory says, fier d'être bleu. And I agree. Fier d'être bleu. Sunday. Everybody ready for France to win the World Cup? If you're Croatian, turn off the show right now. You don't want to hear this. You're going down, Croatia. We're going to smash you, soccer style, with goals in your net. Griezmann style. Griezmann, Umtiti, the whole crew. Andy's like, is the World Cup still on? Yeah. It's coming home to France, Andy.
You're a jerk, You're a huge jerk.
Umtiti! Dembele Umtiti. Yes. Oh, I can't wait. Sunday morning. Irving Smallfield says Umtiti. Shout out to you, Irving. I think I know who that is.
Who is that?
I think that's my brother. I don't know. Uh-oh. Andy says he's going to a different podcast. He's done with us. Sorry, Andy. Sorry. I don't mean to rub it in. Like, I know it sucks for you guys, but I'm glad it's Croatia and not England in the final. I think England would have been tougher. So I'm glad that Croatia came through because I'm more confident in France beating Croatia. I may be wrong. I don't really know anything about soccer. I only watch it every 2 years. I'm sure a lot of you guys, like Andy, I know you know way more about soccer, and you're probably offended that I'm even calling it soccer. So, don't listen to me. I'm just a crazy guy on YouTube.
You are crazy, but you're...
But allez les bleus, because we're going to win the World Cup on Sunday. And then I'll watch soccer again in 2 years at the Euro. Every 2 years, I like soccer a lot. And then I kind of give up. Once in a while, I'll go to an Impact game. Andy, do you know what the Impact are? They're a team we have here. They are terrible. Andy says he's got season tickets for the Tottenham Hotspurs, and it's football. It is football, I agree. Or soccer, whatever. I'm just messing with you, Andy.
It's not Man U? I'm surprised.
There's a lot of teams out there. The Hotspurs. What does that mean? What's a Hotspur? Is that like a spur on a... Like the San Antonio Spurs, but they've been in the sun for a while? Like a cowboy thing? Do they have cowboys in England? Do they have cowboys in England? I've heard of the Tottenham Hotspurs. I've played FIFA. I have FIFA, Andy. Like, come on, Most of my soccer knowledge comes from playing FIFA. I play a lot of FIFA. I like it a lot. So I don't really watch soccer, but I play video games of it a lot on my Nintendo. Andy's like, yeah, there's no Cowboys in England. That's what I figured. Why would there be? Wow. Dory says there's a Jay-Z and Beyonce concert in Paris on Sunday, so they're going to put the game on the screen before the show. He wonders how the crowd's going to be if France loses. Well, if France isn't going to lose, France is going to win. So the crowd's going to be very happy because they're going to get to win the World Cup and then see Jay-Z and Beyonce. I'm not feeling that album that they put out. Not the best album of the summer. Not really in the discussion, as far as I'm concerned. Kanye put out too much heat. Andy says it's about time you guys went international. Get to the UK. I'll show you around. That's far, man. UK is far.
Oh, he came to us, if I'm not mistaken.
I never seen Andy in Montreal.
Boston is very close.
Well, Boston's very close. How come he didn't come here to Montreal? Ahmad Kadri says, hey, guys, good to see you all here. Hey, Ahmad. What's up, man?
What's up?
So, John, you saw The Rock's new movie, Skyscraper?
Yeah, great action. Fantastic. From start to finish was action because The Rock got his leg blown off. So he's just a one-legged guy, and yet he's an ass kicker.
Okay.
I know you don't like The Rock.
It's based on a real guy, eh?
Is it?
Yeah. I saw The Rock posted a picture on Instagram with the director of the movie and the real guy that's an inspiration, and he's got like a artificial leg.
I don't think the real guy is as jacked as The Rock is.
Well, no, I don't think anybody's as jacked as The Rock is.
No, I don't think so. The Rock is probably the most jacked guy in the world.
No, there's bodybuilders that are more jacked than him.
Fine. Hollywood, though? I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, there's no Hollywood guys that are more jacked than The Rock, obviously. Although John Cena might be. John Cena's kind of a Hollywood guy now, and he's more jacked than The Rock, isn't he?
No. Do you remember when they had that match at Survivor Series?
Yeah.
The tag match? Cena looks so small compared to The Rock.
Rock's much taller.
Yeah. More mass.
Yeah. Antoinette says that the Jay-Z album sucks. She prefers Drake. I do, too. I think Drake's album is better than the Jay-Z and Beyonce one. Kanye's album was really good this summer. Pusha T's album was really good. Nas' album. The Kid Cudi Kanye album. I liked all those things that Kanye put out. I thought they were great. And I like the new Drake album. I think it's really good. And Antoinette is saying she's with me. Go France. Allez, les bleus.
Doesn't Wally have the bet with Croatia, though? He's going to win big, too, if they win.
I don't know. Andy says he's in Boston in September. Let's meet up. Yeah, but that would mean I'd have to go all the way to Boston, Andy. I'm not trying to go to Boston. What's in Boston? The Red Sox. Ugh.
First place Red Sox, by the way.
Yeah, they're jerks. They suck. I hate them so much. Go Yankees. Forever. Yankees are going to win the division, okay? It's going to happen. Dory says, John, that shirt is sick, man. He likes your shirt.
Yeah, that Dave got for me, yeah.
I got it for you.
Yeah.
That Bret Hart shirt. It is nice. Anthony says he suggests listening to Freddie Gibbs' new album and Meek Mill's new mixtape. I'm not a big fan of Meek Mill, but I guess I'll check it out. Ahmad says France will probably win, but Croatia are the underdogs, and they're going to be tough. I agree. It's going to be tough. It's the World Cup final. I mean, they made it to the final for a reason, right? It's not like I'm not nervous, but I'm confident in France. It's a very good team. Made the Euro Cup final 2 years ago, lost to Portugal. Not this time. This time we win. Andy says, what's in Boston? Me and his girlfriend and his future home. Well, I'll tell you what. If you're full-time in Boston, Andy, then I'll definitely come check you out at some point. But if it's like a certain time and I got to be in Boston, you got to give me exact dates. September is like not that far away.
Can't be Fenway, too, because apparently he's Fenway.
I'm not trying to go to Fenway Park at all. Unless the Yankees are playing. Even then, I'll probably get into a big fight with people. And I'm not trying to get arrested in the States, so no bueno. Andy says he's going to be a full-time American soon. All right, well, I'll come check you out, Andy. Antoinette wants to know if I got my Yeezys. Yeah, I got my Yeezys. And Michael Dupree says, how about those new Childish Gambino tracks? I actually haven't checked those out yet, but I'm not a huge fan of his either. I think he's all right. I like Atlanta. I'm a big fan of that show. I think that show is fantastic. I'm more a fan of that than the music. Oh, Wally said he's going to win $1,100 if Croatia wins. But France is going to win, so sorry, Wally. Does Antoinette ask about the Yeezys? Hold on, I'm going to get it.
And once again, it's the Joy North show. Thankfully. It's the way it always should have been from the start. Now, what else happened in that dream? Yeah, we had Teen Zev. He was trying to get lucky, but I didn't like the way things were going with that, with Teen Zev so much. Now I'm getting shut down before he even comes back. Wow, that's great.
I'm back. Got Yeezys. See, these are the new Yeezys. Right here, Yeezy 500s. Just came out.
Kind of used a bit.
Yeah, well, I wore them a couple times so far. I wear them. A lot of people buy them to sell them, but I wear them. Those are the 500s, the all-black utility. And these are the other ones that I have. These are like the cream, kind of white 500s. I'm thinking about mixing and matching, wearing them like wearing one white and one black. It looks kind of cool. I might do it. I don't know. Anyways, new Yeezys out. All black. Real nice. Got them last weekend. Boom. Irving Smallfield says, leave my nephew alone. Let him have a childhood. Yeah, I agree with him. And that is my brother. Confirmation. Big ups to you, my man. Are you coming to IWS with me tomorrow night or not? Could you please answer me? Let me know. Are we going to see Green Phantom? What's the deal?
Apparently, if I talk about him, he's not going to have a childhood. Like,
yo, just
my Freddy Krueger
show
here?
some respect, okay? The family is always watching, John. The family's watching.
The family Chantel? Like, that's the family Simon,
yo,
too?
the family Chantel has got nothing on the family Simon, okay? Nothing. Anthony says he's not a fan of the new ones. The new what? The 500s? I like them, man. They're cool. They're nice and chunky. I'm trying to get my hands on a pair of the 700s. I don't have those. I need those. If anybody wants to link me up with some Yeezy 700s, I will owe you forever. You will be my best friend. I don't know what else I can offer you. Cash money? Antoinette says she loves the black ones. They're nice. I do like them. I like them quite a bit. They are pretty nice. You don't like these, Johnny? I like how they're nice and chunky, you know?
Didn't you and like AJ debate about like Adidas? Like he said you're not an Adidas guy, and like
yeah, that was hilarious when I was talking about Yeezys with AJ, and he's like, "Oh, I just like Adidas," and I'm like, "AJ, Yeezys are Adidas. I have way more Adidas than you do, dude." He like it blew his mind. He's like, "What?"
Yeah.
You like my AJ impression? What? Oh, Andy said he just spoke to his girlfriend. They're going to do a week in Canada. He says he needs to be on the pre-show. Yeah, for sure. Andy, if you come to Montreal, I'll put you on the pre-show 100%. 100%. Antoinette says she's going to bring cannoli and good food. Yeah, you can do that whenever. I don't know what the occasion is for that. Maybe when Andy's coming, but I'm down with the good food and cannolis.
Didn't AJ bring that before?
AJ did not do that. Dory asked me if I'm familiar with ninjutsu martial art. He started training and it's kind of dope. I don't know much about ninjutsu. Sounds fun, I guess. I'm more into jiu-jitsu. Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I don't know. And wrestling. You want to do anything, I would suggest wrestling. Not like pro wrestling, but amateur wrestling. Andy says he's going to bring me a Tottenham jersey. All right, I'm into that. That sounds cool. I like soccer jerseys. Thanks, Andy. So you like the new Rock movie?
Yeah, the new Rock movie was a lot of fun. Enjoyable. Start to finish. Definitely the movie to watch this summer so far.
Yeah? I haven't seen any movies this summer. Trying to think, have I been watching anything? Oh, the new season of Power started. Anybody watching Power? You don't watch that?
I haven't seen it. I finished watching Unsolved, which was great.
Yeah, it was good, eh?
I don't think there's going to be another season, though, unfortunately. But
I don't think there's a real need for another season. You got to check out that Death Row show now.
Yeah, I forgot to check that out. Yeah,
I'll send that to you.
Okay.
I'll hook you up with that. Oh, Antoinette says in Toronto for the UFC, she's going to hook us up with food. Yeah, I might go to the UFC in Toronto. I'm more into traveling somewhere in Canada than going to the United States right now. I'm not really into going to the States. I don't really want to cross that border and go over there. Like, no offense to our American listeners and viewers, but that country's a little messed up right now. I'm not trying to go to the United States at all. Like, I'm not going. Until Trump is gone, like, I'm not going. I'm not into it. They got to change the direction of the country before I go back there. That's straight up. That's no lie. I'm not going.
Well, you're not getting Brock in December in Toronto. That's confirmed. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah, Brock's not going to be... no, Brock can't fight till, like, January 8th, 2019. He's still under suspension until then. He re-entered the testing pool, but he can't fight till January. Michael, yeah, you're out in like Michigan, right? He wants to go back to Montreal. I feel you. The United States is a crazy place right now. I'm not interested. There's nothing that can really draw me out there, you know? There's nothing that I really want out there or need to go to or see. I have no reason to go to the United States, and if I can avoid it, I'm going to avoid it as much as possible. Andy says Trump's in the UK right now. Yeah, apparently there's big protests. Big protests. I know Johnny doesn't feel the same way. You have no problem going to the United States. You got no real problem with Donald Trump. But I'm not into it. I'm not going to the States.
I've met a lot of good people in the States. A lot of Americans I like. I don't think you should just completely...
Oh, I like Americans, for sure. It's not the people that I have a problem with. It's the government. And unfortunately, when you cross that border, you have to deal with the government. And it's really the border crossing that I'm worried about. Once I'm in the United States, I'm not really worried. It's just like the border, you know, how they deal with me. And I don't want anybody trying to take my phone and look at my Twitter just for crossing into your country. And, like, apparently they're doing stuff like that now. Like, you got to surrender your cell phone. Like, what's that about? It's an invasion of privacy that I'm not comfortable with. Among other things that the United States are doing, you know? But there's a lot going on there that I'm just not happy with. So I'm like, you know what? Not for me. Not for me. I was thinking about going to WrestleMania next year in New York. Ring of Honor and New Japan are doing a joint show WrestleMania weekend at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be incredible. But I'm not sure I want to go. 2020. Maybe after 2020 I'll go back to the States.
I don't know. The Rock said he's only going to run in 2024, so...
Well, what about Kanye? I don't know. Somebody.
I think The Rock's predicting that it's going to be a lot longer before he can become president.
How about, like, Randy Orton? I mean, Randy Orton at this point would be better. How about The Miz? He's awesome. Miz for president, 2020. I'm with that. Cody Rhodes. Somebody. Didn't Cody say he's going to run for the Senate?
Really? I didn't hear that, but that's fun.
Antoinette says she's not going to the States. Say no to Trump. Ahmad says it's bad, but things do turn around. Thankfully, the system's designed to not let people become dictators. Hopefully. Michael says this country had so many of the same issues before Trump, too. This country's been messed up forever. There are some problems, for sure. Every country's got their problems, though. The guns are scary, though. As a Canadian, like, thinking about walking into a place where everybody's got a gun and I don't, it's not a very comfortable feeling, you know? Like, I can't go in there armed. I don't have guns. I don't have guns in my home. I've never handled a gun. Even if you gave me a gun, I'm not sure I know how to do anything with it. For real. I never shot a gun before. You ever shot a gun?
I've pulled down the American flag at a wrestling show, and I'm like, oh, crap. I hope I don't get shot for that.
You ever shot a gun?
No.
We don't shoot guns. Like, I'm telling you, most American dudes in their 30s, especially like, wrestling fans, whatever, if we're Americans, we would have shot a gun.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Completely. I've never held a gun in my life. You ever even touched a gun?
Yeah, no, I touched a gun, yeah.
You touched a gun?
Yeah. I live in the country, like.
Okay, but you never shot one?
No.
But it's like a shotgun you touched or something? Yeah. You lived in a country, yeah. Country guys have shotguns, and sometimes it's like hunting stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah, like a hunting rifle. But that's all it is. I've never done that either. Like, I'm not a country guy like Johnny, so I don't know guns. I've never shot a gun in my life, and I'm not trying to shoot a gun. Guns kill, man. Okay? And walking into a country where everybody has a gun and everybody thinks it's cool to have a gun, and I don't have a gun, and I don't know anything about guns, I don't know how to deal with guns, it's like, whoa, I don't like this. This doesn't make me feel very comfortable. I walk around in Canada, I'm a martial artist, I know how to do things. I feel pretty comfortable. Nobody's going to mess with me. But across that border, it's like, whoa, what am I going to do? Choke a guy? He's going to shoot my head off. It's not comfortable.
Not everyone's walking around with guns, though.
Michael says he's never touched a gun, and he's American. So I'm sure there's a bunch of you guys out there. But the impression that we get is like, man, everybody's got a gun out there. It's scary. People get shot every day in every city across the nation. That doesn't happen here. Dory says guns are legal in Canada? Not really. Like, you can have like hunting rifles for hunting, but that's pretty much it. You can't really have a handgun. You can't have a handgun, can you?
Everything has to be registered.
Yeah, it's like super registered. You have to go through a bunch of like a bunch of a bunch of hoops to do everything. Like, it's a serious process to get a gun, and even then, it's like you might not get one in the end. And I think pretty much all you can get is a hunting rifle, from what I know. But like, nobody I know has guns. We don't have guns. There's no guns here, really.
Except, again, like you said, hunting. That's pretty much the main thing.
And, like, criminals find ways to get guns, of course, but, like, nothing, like, the accessibility, And that's the thing, like, out there you have such accessibility to guns.
Yeah.
That it's, like, so easy to get one and to get all these, like, assault rifles and whatever. But here, like, if you get caught with something like that, you're going to jail, like, right away. Like, over there, you get caught with it. It's like, oh, maybe I bought it from here or whatever. Over here, you get caught with something like that. It's like, hey, man, what the hell are you doing with that? You can't have this. So it's, like, automatic. Like, you can't even be seen with this stuff. There are states that are open carry, man. You could carry all sorts of big guns just, like, walking around. There's not a single place in Canada where you could walk around with a big old assault rifle, and if a cop sees you, he's not going to arrest you immediately. That's a big difference, man. Big difference.
He's not secure is pretty much what he's saying. You're not secure. That's it.
Well, you're not secure if you're not armed and everybody else is, right? Ahmad says, what's scarier is when people want to own machine guns and automatic arsenal. That's scary. Yeah, that is scary. And Dory says, Matt Serra doesn't need a gun. That's true, but that guy was, like, drunk in a restaurant, and all Matt did was, take him down and sit on him. Get a full mount from a black belt. You're not getting up, my friend. Especially Matt Serra. He's a heavy boy. Antoinette says she shot a gun in police school. Antoinette's Canadian. But police school, Police have guns. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things keeping me away from the United States. I don't know why we're talking about this.
Yeah, you kind of drifted there a little bit. You do that.
Pre-show's over. Pre-show's over.
No last comments? No, like, last-minute things? Like, people want to get the predictions for Extreme Rules? No?
We're going to do the predictions for Extreme Rules on Wrestling Uncensored.
Yeah, we'll get other people's predictions? No? No one has thoughts on Extreme Rules? No
All
one
right,
cares?
final thoughts for the pre-show here. We've drifted into gun violence. I don't know how we got here. Dory wants a Skyscraper review. You gave the review, didn't you?
Yeah, it was great. Start to finish. Go watch it. It's the best thing you can watch this summer.
So you loved it.
I loved it a lot. One of the best Rock movies I've seen in a long time, actually.
The Rock.
What's also
I
great,
miss The Rock.
What's great too is like usually The Rock, like he's kind of invincible throughout the whole movie. In this, a lot of it because he has one leg, but he gets his butt kicked a lot, and it just feels a lot more real. That The Rock can't dodge all these bullets and everything. Like he's gonna get his butt kicked more often than not, especially if he gets hit from behind. Like he's not just gonna no sell everything. You laugh, but it's true. Like Fast and the Furious, like he's superhuman in that movie.
Oh yeah.
In this, it's a little bit more realistic. I mean, it's still a little off the wall because he's jumping from a huge skyscraper, but still. At least in terms of the fighting, it seems more realistic.
You've not sold me on this movie.
Well, you don't like The Rock, unfortunately. I don't know what happened to you, but you've changed.
I like The Rock. I'm not a big fan of the Dwayne. He's changed.
He's changed for the better.
Financially, maybe, but like, really? In ring-wise, he hasn't.
He's in better shape now than he was when he was wrestling. And, yeah, he makes a lot more money. How are things bad?
The Rock, here's the difference between The Rock. The Rock had the hair. Remember Rock's hair?
I like Bald Rock. Bald Rock's cool.
The Dwayne is bald. Two different guys.
He's superhuman now. It's fine. It's cool when he's like that.
I prefer The Rock. He was more fun. He was the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. The most electrifying man in all of entertainment is not as electrifying. Antoinette says Extreme Rules better be good. Dory says Extreme Rules going to be so bad. Antoinette wants to know, are we going to do an after show after Extreme Rules? Yep. I'll be on YouTube here right after Extreme Rules Sunday night. Johnny, I don't think we'll be here.
But you'll have somebody else?
I think my brother will be here. I think. I'm pretty sure he's going to be here and co-host with me. So, the Simon family, back at it.
That's good.
Antoinette says Skyscraper was a 10. She loved it. People liked it. It's not my kind of movie, but, yeah. Rock, Austin, and McMahon had an excellent storyline back in the 90s. Yeah. The Rock was better in the 90s. I don't think we can debate that. The Rock was the best version of The Rock was like 1999 Rock. That version of The Rock was my favorite.
See, David Simon's not a fan of Cookie Puss. Ever since that promo, he didn't like The Rock, so.
He should have never taken the title from CM Punk.
He's got some bitterness there.
Punk should have beat him at the Rumble. What was that, 5 years ago?
I think, actually, no, the Rumble was the right choice. Maybe give Punk the title back, make it a three-way. But, no, the Rumble was the right choice to switch the title.
That was the beginning of the end of CM Punk in the WWE. When he had to drop the title to The Rock, that was the beginning of CM Punk realizing no matter what I do, no matter how big I get, they're never going to treat me like they treat these other guys.
You sure it wasn't Ryback? Because he got injured against Ryback.
Yeah, but The Rock was like the first straw. It was like, oh, okay. Because CM Punk was like killing it. You know, top guy, nonstop. And then they have him lose to The Rock, and then they have him lose to Undertaker and Mania, right?
Right, yeah.
And it was like, okay.
Lost to Kane on Raw.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't always win.
What about when you should, though?
Lost to Brock, too.
Ahmad wants to know if we think Punk will ever come back.
To wrestling? Yeah, sure. Not WWE.
I think to wrestling he will. To WWE is highly unlikely. And will Punk have another fight in the UFC? That's a big no. No. They will not give him another shot. Punk's UFC career is over. Will he fight MMA again? Possibly. I think some other MMA promotion would be willing to take a risk on CM Punk because he's worth it. but I don't think the UFC wants to be in the CM Punk business anymore. That last fight was just embarrassing for everybody involved. The UFC doesn't need to do that anymore.
Even though it got people talking a lot. And I think that's why someone like Bellator would give him a shot.
I think Bellator would do it. I think they'd be smart to do it. But I don't know if Punk should do it. Is Punk a bigger star now if he comes back to WWE? I don't know. I think Punk was a bigger star when he just left WWE. I think that was the height of Punk. I feel like his UFC run, because it's been so bad, it's hurt his star power and his value as a wrestler a little bit. Like, he's still very valuable, but if he would have just left wrestling and not lost in the UFC, I think he'd be more valuable now for pro wrestling. I think the UFC run hurt his value because he became kind of a joke in another sport.
But they still chant his name. They chanted his name at the last pay-per-view. He's still a draw. He's still over. People still want to see him. That's not going to change, I think.
Yeah, no, I think he's still a big star, and if he were to walk into the WWE today, the crowd would go crazy. I would go crazy. We all would. Anthony says he'd have to be in the Indies first before going back to the WWE and being a star. I disagree. Ahmad says he'd be a draw if he comes back to WWE. I think he would be, for sure. But maybe not as much as he would have been had he not gone to the UFC.
It's tough because there's a lack of trust there. Like, he comes back, is it just for that moment? I mean, how are they going to sign a contract exactly? Does he want to really do the road again? There's a lot of issues there. And, of course, he'd have to see Triple H every day. I mean, does he want to do that?
It's not happening. It's not happening. Punk's not coming back to the WWE. Anthony wants to see him show up at All In. I would like to see that too.
He is going to be there, kind of.
I'm all in. Make sure to check out, if you want more on All In and New Japan Pro Wrestling and all that stuff, the G1 is starting, G1 28 starting like late tonight. So the G1 is beginning this weekend, going to the middle of August. Green Phantom and I previewed that whole tournament, and we reviewed the G1 special, the amazing match between Kenny Omega and Cody, Hiromu Takahashi and Dragon Lee, like Hiromu breaking his neck in that match pretty much. It was crazy.
I heard you guys talk about that Steenizer.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Unbelievable. Listen to the latest episode of What's Phantom in Japan right now at ringsidereport.net, wrestlinguncensored.net. It's on our YouTube channel as well. The G1 is starting. I might do a special podcast in between, like during the G1, because it's such a long tournament, and there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen. It's going to be great. I can't wait for the G1. You want to see some really good pro wrestling? Watch New Japan, because right now that company's on fire.
From what I saw, it looked good from the clips that I saw. Looked really good.
You should watch the matches. You still haven't seen Omega Okada, right?
Not yet.
You're never going to watch it.
I will. I just got to get around to it. There's a lot to watch. You know, when you see a movie every week, and when you watch Raw and SmackDown every week, man, it's a lot.
When you watch 90 Day Fiancé every week, it's a lot to watch. It's a lot to watch.
Yeah.
Wrestling Uncensored, pre-show. We're putting out a lot to watch, too. I hope everybody can keep up. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. Shout out to Dory, Ahmad, Anthony, Antoinette, Michael, Andy. I'm sure I'm missing some people. Well, everybody.
Sasha's MIA, but he said it ahead of time. That he'd be MIA.
Sasha, Wally, my brother, everybody checking in. My brother never answered me about the show tomorrow night, eh? I got to text him now. Unbelievable. All right. We'll preview Extreme Rules on Wrestling Uncensored. Be sure to listen to it tomorrow night on TSN 690 and download it at WrestlingUncensored.net. I'm Dave. He's Johnny. Allez blur. Go France. I see you, Dory. This has been the Wrestling Uncensored pre-show. Should we do a yeah at the end of this now? I feel like this is a separate entity.
So then you don't have to.
Okay. Bye.
Peace. Dave's finger.
Hello, this is Mick Foley, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
What's going on, y'all? This is WWE superstar Kofi Kingston, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Rob Van Dam. You're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Aw, yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is our website. Here on TSN 690, every Saturday night, talking professional wrestling here with you. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat, all on the same name, Dave Simon MMA. How easy is that? Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Dave Simon MMA. You can follow Johnny North on Twitter at North Genesis, and you can follow him on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. Why couldn't you just do North Genesis for both?
Because I wanted to make them both special in their own little ways, and I find they are.
Well, they're just different accounts. It's easier for me and for you and for everybody with just one name. You know, you search it. It's like, oh, who am I searching for here? North Genesis? No, that's not anything. You know?
If you see my profile for both of them, you see Instagram on the Twitter, and you see on Instagram the Twitter, what it is. So it's not that difficult. And if you care enough, which I hope you do,
Of course I do.
then it shouldn't be a problem.
But it's about branding, John. It's about the brand, okay? And the brand, Dave Simon MMA, is on all the platforms.
I don't see the T-shirts anywhere. Where are T-shirts?
Well, AJ's supposed to get on that. AJ from Ringside Report Radio. He's in the process of making T-shirts. You're ragging on me making T-shirts. You're the pro wrestler. What's your gimmick stand like, brother?
I got some photos, nice photos. When I have this title I had like in 2010, fantastic.
Yeah, well, I want to see some Johnny North T-shirts. That 50 Shades of North shirt that Wally, our boy out in Ireland, made for you was really sweet. If we could mass produce those somehow, I think those would be hot sellers. I think we need to start a Wrestling Uncensored T-shirt store. Every other podcast seems to have a T-shirt store.
That's true.
What's the deal?
Though I'm more of a tank kind of guy.
You are a tank kind of guy. Because you got giant arms and you like to show them off, big boy.
Well, that's it. Like a shirt, you're kind of like restricted, I find. Like Luger. Like, as much as I want to be the total package, I hate to be in that kind of situation where you couldn't get the shirt off. Like, that's a horrible thing to happen to somebody.
What are you talking about?
You don't remember that Lex Luger promo when he's trying to take the shirt off? And he goes, I don't know!
Oh, yeah. He could took the shirt off. That's a Botchamania thing, right?
It's a
I
thing
don't
in
know.
wrestling. It's not
Yeah.
just a botchamania. It's a thing in wrestling.
It's just a thing. It's a wrestling thing. It's one of those things. One of those things that's going to happen this weekend, Big Johnny, coming up tomorrow night. We are here. Extreme Rules, WWE's next pay-per-view, the last stop before SummerSlam. This is a big event, and it's going to be quite long. The WWE shows used to go from like 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Now it's like a 7 p.m. start time, and it may not end till like midnight.
I feel the last one was like 11:30-ish, if I'm not mistaken, Money in the Bank.
My goodness.
So 4.5. That's fine, I guess. As long as it's a good pay-per-view. Money in the Bank, in my opinion, may have been the best pay-per-view we're going to see from WWE all year. So I think expectations, you got to lower them a bit for Extreme Rules. To expect it to be anything close to as good, certain matches need to stand out and need to deliver. And if they don't, this pay-per-view will be very disappointing.
So we're hoping for the best at Extreme Rules. I think that we have opportunities to have some really good matches.
Without question, you have many stipulation matches. Many of them can be very good. I'm hoping the Iron Man match is going to be the match of the night.
That Iron Man match for the Intercontinental Championship you're talking about, Seth Rollins going one-on-one with Dolph Ziggler, a 30-minute Iron Man match. That could be good. Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley. It's a big match on this card. One of the main selling points, one of the main storylines on Raw going into this one. Jeff Hardy, the United States champion, defending his title against Shinsuke Nakamura. No stipulation on this one that I know of, right?
No, there's no stipulation, just the championship on the line. That's about it.
Baron Corbin takes on Finn Balor one-on-one. Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens in a steel cage match. I have high hopes for that. I think that could be really fun. We have the New Day taking on Sanity. I think that's going to be on the pre-show. That one, a tables match. That could be a lot of fun as well. Carmella defending the SmackDown Women's title against Asuka. And the stipulation for that one will have James Ellsworth suspended above the ring in a shark cage.
They love bringing back the shark cage all the time. I don't know why. I guess they probably made a toy or something, so they have to feature it every so often. But it's a little much to have this match almost every big gimmick pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's a weird stipulation, the shark cage. I've never been a big fan of the Ellsworth shark cage gimmick. I guess Jericho did it once, too. Who else has done it?
Taker, Paul Bearer, Mankind.
Okay. So it hasn't been done that much, right? But it's just like, I don't know. I guess Ellsworth has been a guy that's been interfering a lot in Carmella's matches, so they're trying to keep that from happening. It's Extreme Rules. They're trying to find some sort of gimmick to throw in there. I don't see what's so extreme about Ellsworth just kind of sitting in a cage above the ring. I guess there's a risk that the cage would fall and Ellsworth would presumably die.
And maybe somebody who's underneath it, too, as well.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like a safe idea. It doesn't seem like a good idea. It's a little bit odd.
It's just there's so many more better extreme stipulations, and we're getting this. It's just... I'm not impressed by this at all.
Considering Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's title is an Extreme Rules match with Ronda Rousey sitting ringside, that's the more compelling women's title match as far as I'm concerned. Also on this card, we got AJ Styles against Rusev for the WWE Championship. No stipulation on that one. And the tag team titles for Raw, also no stipulation. Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt taking on the B Team. So some of these matches are extreme, but going into an Extreme Rules, I would have preferred more of these matches have gimmicks. It's called Extreme Rules, but the only Extreme Rules match is the Raw Women's Championship?
Arguably, that could be the main event, though.
It should be. Is there a more compelling match on this card? There's, Ronda Rousey, Money in the Bank, stole the show, right?
Right.
Ronda Rousey's going to be involved in this here. Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss, it's Extreme Rules. There's not really a match on this card that's more interesting. I mean, what's a better main event? Roman and Lashley?
You wouldn't be surprised if that's the main event.
No. I wouldn't be, because Roman Reigns is kind of the main event of the WWE, right?
Right, but I also feel because the Iron Man is going to be 30 minutes, why shouldn't that be the main event? It's going to be so long. I mean, do you really want something to follow that afterwards? I don't think so.
So you think the Iron Man match should main event?
I think it possibly could. I mean, it might be the match of the night, so shouldn't it not be the main event then?
I don't know.
If I was a betting person, I'd bet on Roman Reigns. Main event.
It makes the most sense.
Bet on Roman.
Yeah. But why isn't Roman and Lashley no DQ? Why isn't AJ and Rusev falls count anywhere? Why don't we have more of these Extreme Rules stipulations on this Extreme Rules pay-per-view? There are very few matches on this so-called Extreme Rules that have the possibility of, being extreme or, kind of non-traditional matches. You have the steel cage match with Owens and Strowman. You have New Day's table match. You have the Raw Women's title. And that's it. I guess you could throw in the Ellsworth in the shark cage match, but that's 4 matches on this 11-match card. That's supposedly Extreme Rules. It's just a little bit odd, the booking of it. I think it would be more fun if you had fewer rules. They could have more leeway in the matches and do some more exciting stuff. I think Jeff Hardy and Nakamura, if that were some kind of Extreme Rules match, no DQ, falls count anywhere, whatever, last man standing, I think people would be more excited for Jeff Hardy and Nakamura. But right now, it's just like an ordinary U.S. title match. Nothing really going for it. People aren't that excited. It's something that you could see on any given Tuesday night on a SmackDown.
Well, this is what they do now, though. You get the singles match first, and then it leads to probably a stipulation match. With a lot of these feuds just starting, not all of them are going to be extreme. And I feel like they did Extreme Rules in the past where every match had a gimmick, and I think it took away from some of the matches later on in the show. Some gimmicks are really good, and some aren't that good. And that's the problem. They can't keep a fair balance. So this is their way of balancing it. You get a gimmick here and there, and then you get a singles match, a regular match.
Well, we'll see what this pay-per-view looks like, right? We'll find out on Sunday night. You expect Seth and Dolph to be the match of the night?
It needs to be the match of the night in order for this pay-per-view to be successful and for people to actually like it. I think Reigns versus Lashley, the ending needs to be acceptable. I think the match will just be average at best, but as long as the ending, everyone's happy with it for the most part, and it leaves you wanting more in terms of Raw, then that'll be fine. But you also need Alexa and Nia. That needs to be a lot more than what we've seen in the past. And there's where I worry. Yeah, the Ronda thing will be cool, but in terms of that match, I worry if it can be really that good, because in the past, we've seen it twice, it wasn't that good.
I don't know. Wasn't Alexa throwing around a kendo stick? She looked pretty violent with that thing. I like the idea of Alexa Bliss with weapons.
Yeah, and I remember her against Bayley with a kendo stick, and that was one of the worst matches ever. And it was at Extreme Rules.
Okay. But Ronda Rousey's ringside. Nia Jax is coming off the performance of her life at Money in the Bank. I think this could be good. I'm hoping that it's good. I don't know what the match of the night's going to be. If I had to pick, I would say Kevin Owens against Braun Strowman in the cage. I would hope. I think Kevin Owens is going to do something crazy. He's going to take a bump off the top of the cage. Whether it's to the inside or outside of the cage, I don't know. But I feel like Kevin Owens is going to take another big bump. That's what he's doing right now.
I think that's what this match needs. I don't know if it's going to be a great match start to finish. I think it'll be kind of slow because there's only so much two big guys can do inside of a cage, single-wise. But as long as you have a cool moment, maybe it's going to be a cool finish or just, like you say, a cool bump off the top. That's all you really need to say that was a great match.
Yeah, I guess so. But is that all you need to make it match of the night?
I think it's really tough for that to be match of the night. Given the competition on the show, very difficult. I mean, Kevin's going to have to... We're going to have to see like a Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle kind of steel cage match. And as good as Kevin is, I don't know if he could bring Braun Strowman to that kind of level.
Yeah. That's more of a Strowman issue than a Kevin Owens issue.
I mean, I'd love to see Kevin do the moonsault off top of the cage. But given this kind of feud where it's going, and more than likely Kevin's just going to get destroyed, do we really need to see Kevin do a moonsault off top of the cage? He's also playing the character that he's kind of a coward when it comes to heights. Why would he be doing a moonsault?
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense. I could see them both being on top of the cage and Braun throwing Kevin off the top of the cage, but Kevin like going through something outside the cage and winning. Like, I could see a thing where Braun kind of throws him, Kevin Owens takes a big fall, but that big fall leads to him winning the match. I think he should win this match. I really do, because, like, no one expects him to win. He's been losing a lot lately. He's just taking beating after beating from Braun Strowman. And, like, a steel cage match, Braun could lose and still look strong. Like, he could give Kevin Owens a vicious beating, and then Kevin Owens just kind of moves out of the way. Strowman runs his face into the cage, and Owens just escapes, you know? A steel cage match is a perfect match for a cowardly heel to win because you win by escape. You don't win by pinning your opponent and beating him down and proving you're the better man. You win by running away from your opponent, escaping the cage, getting out of the conflict. So it's a good match and a good opportunity to have Kevin Owens win. And I think it would surprise people because most people, after seeing week after week Kevin Owens just taking a beating from Braun Strowman and getting scared off by Braun Strowman and getting thrown in a porta potty by Braun Strowman, all these things, I think it would be good for Kevin Owens to win for his character, and also it would be good for the pay-per-view as a whole, good for the fans, because we get to see something that maybe we're not expecting so much.
I agree with you, but the problem is I feel the opposite can also be played into effect, where it feels like they had opportunities to make sure Braun, he could lose but not really get pinned. They had a tag match with Bobby Lashley, but they still won that. I think he got the pin too in it, Braun. He had Money in the Bank. He doesn't have to win that. Still looks okay, but he still won that anyways. So I feel like we're in this situation again. Oh, well, he can just lose. Kevin can just escape the cage somehow. But I feel still Braun's going to win. It just feels like Braun always wins. And I don't think that they're going to change that because he's more likely going to become Universal Champion pretty soon.
Yeah. I think Braun Strowman becomes Universal Champion at SummerSlam. I think we're going to see Roman Reigns beat Bobby Lashley. I don't think people are going to be happy with the finish of that match. I know you were saying, oh, if the finish is good, maybe it won't be so bad, but I think the finish is going to be Superman Punch, Spear, 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns on top, clean, middle of the ring.
Seems too predictable. It feels like they do more than that. They have Brock possibly in his last ever appearance with WWE. I feel like the build to that, like they do more. They have something more than just, oh, it's Roman Reigns, that's it.
We could talk about Brock Lesnar as well because something happened outside of the WWE with Brock. He showed up at UFC 226 like he was rumored to. He was there. Daniel Cormier knocks out Stipe Miocic in the very first round. Unbelievable performance from DC. And he sees Brock Lesnar there, so he calls him into the cage. As soon as Brock walks in, he pushes DC. A melee ensues. Brock cuts a promo on not just DC, but Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou, calling them pieces of excrement. Not in those words, but you know what I'm saying. Can't say it on the radio.
Swear words.
Brock swore up and down, a promo he couldn't cut in the WWE. It's funny, when Brock talks in the UFC, it's like the best promo in the UFC. When Brock talks in the WWE, it's like, call Paul Heyman. This didn't go so well.
Well, it's because he can't swear in WWE, so it's not as entertaining.
Yeah, it's a totally different style promo in UFC. But it's a good promo from Brock Lesnar, and it looks like he's going back to the UFC. He's going to get the shot at Daniel Cormier's heavyweight championship, but Brock still serving a suspension. He's now back in the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency testing pool, but cannot come back to actual competition, cannot be licensed until January of 2019. So everybody is predicting that SummerSlam will be where Brock drops the title, but he doesn't have to because he can't actually fight until January. So we've got a good 6 months until Brock could fight. So why does Brock have to drop the title at SummerSlam? Why doesn't he drop the title at Survivor Series in November? I think a lot of people would be expecting Brock to drop the title at SummerSlam. And if he doesn't, people would be absolutely shocked. And in theory, like, what's the big deal? Just extend the contract to November, have him drop it at Survivor Series? Unless Brock wants to concentrate full-time on preparing for his MMA comeback, which would be the wise thing to do, because when he comes back, he has to fight Daniel Cormier, who could very well beat him. I think it's a winnable fight for Brock. I think Brock could win. There are paths to victory for him, but it's not going to be easy, and he's not going to be the favorite. And I would not put money on Brock winning that fight. But what do I know? I thought Stipe was going to win on Saturday. So,
well, I think something that we can bank on for SummerSlam is that Brock, no matter what happens in that title match, he's not getting pinned. I think we can both agree on that. If it's going to be a multi-man kind of match at SummerSlam, Brock ain't taking the pin.
Is it going to be a multi-man match at SummerSlam, or is it going to be Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns one more time? Because I think it's going to be Brock and Roman. I think that, I think Brock probably is walking away after SummerSlam. And I think that you need Brock to lose to Roman. Roman is your guy. Roman is the guy the whole company is centered around. And Brock has had too many wins over him. That win at WrestleMania has to be taken back from Roman Reigns. Roman's got to beat Brock. I think Roman beats Brock at SummerSlam, and then Braun immediately cashes in on Roman and becomes the Universal Champion. That's my best guess of what's going to happen.
I still think do the 4-way, and you can just have Roman win the championship without Brock getting pinned. That's how I would do it. People would be upset, but still.
I think Brock should lose on the way out. I mean, that's the wrestling business. That's how it goes. That's the right thing to do. You lose on the way out.
But he's still got a big fight coming up, and WWE's promoting the fact that him and Cormier are feuding in the UFC.
WWE's promoting that? I didn't see anything.
I saw a lot of it, actually.
Not on Raw?
On their Twitter, on their website. They're hyping it. The fact that the fight's happening, what Brock's doing. Obviously, they're not going to show that on Raw. It's a PG show. They can't show what Brock did. But they
could show parts of it.
I guess. But maybe they'd have to get a deal with UFC. Online, apparently, they can do it. Television, not so much.
Brock should have been on Raw Monday night. Brock's name was hot. Brock just showed up at the UFC. He's going to be the next challenger for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. Brock and Heyman should have done a promo Monday night. The fact that they were not there is a WWE dropping the ball. They should have done everything in their power to get Brock there Monday night because that would have helped the show. Because from what I understand, the rating on Raw was one of the lowest, if not the lowest of all time. Like, Raw did a terrible rating. Nobody's watching this show. It was not very good.
There's a rumor, though, that Paul Heyman was listed as one of the writers for the show, though.
For Raw?
For Raw. Apparently he wrote the Bobby Lashley Roman Reigns segment, the brawl at the beginning. Apparently Paul Heyman was behind that. He's denied this, but apparently there's a report about it.
I don't believe that. Where do you see... there's no credits for Monday Night Raw. You don't see a list of writers at the end of the show. Where would you see a list of writers for Monday Night Raw? As far as I know, that doesn't even exist. That sounds like fake news once again from you, Johnny North.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is the case, that Paul Heyman is behind the scenes. Because if you watch that segment, it just screams of Paul Heyman. Like the way that went down with Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns.
It just felt like an imitation Brock Lesnar segment.
Yeah. Again, Paul Heyman.
No, that doesn't mean Paul Heyman wrote that. I could have written that segment. You know how easy that is to write? Roman Reigns comes to the ring, calls out Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley shows up. Kurt Angle says, hey guys, don't fight each other, save it for Sunday. Bobby and Roman don't listen, they fight each other. Kurt Angle sends out a bunch of jabronis. Kurt Hawkins, Bobby Roode, Apollo Crews, Mojo, Baron Corbin, Finn Balor, Titus O'Neil. And those guys, they can't separate them for some reason. It's like 10 guys, they can't separate them. Says a lot about like the Raw roster. It's 10-on-1 and they can't do anything. And then the B team, the Ascension, No Way Jose, Mike Kanellis resurfaced. Did you see him there? Rhino. Zack Ryder was there. Chad Gable actually got some TV time. The Authors of Pain all showed up in a second wave to try and stop Bobby and Roman, but they still couldn't pull them apart. Roman eventually did his dive on everybody, which was so obvious because you saw the whole crew kind of congregating on one side of the ring. They were actually on the wrong side. I don't know if you noticed that. They were like on the hard camera side, and then they had to move near the ramp because that's where Roman does his dive.
Yeah.
So you just saw like a swarm of people kind of move from one side of the ring to the other, be like, whoops, guys, we're in the wrong spot for Roman. And then it was just so obvious that Roman was going to do that spot where he dives on people. Notice Roman will never dive on less than 3 people, like, because he'll miss and it'll be terrible. But if there's like 10 guys, Roman's ready to jump over the top rope. Right? That's how Roman does it. Undertaker was good to dive on just one guy. Roman, not so much. That's kind of the same dive he does, right? The Taker dive.
Well, except for talking about WrestleMania 25 where Taker went right on his head.
Yeah, well, sometimes it doesn't go so right. And that's, part of why we love The Undertaker, because he took the risk, and most of the time it was a thing of beauty and it worked great, but sometimes he crashed and burned, and hey, it's called a high-risk maneuver for a reason, Johnny North.
Safety for Roman. Safety first.
Yeah. It's pro wrestling.
You don't have to kill yourself for wrestling. You're supposed to look like you're killing yourself, but you don't actually kill yourself.
How about taking some risks once in a while?
Hey, you never know. He could have broken his ankle the way he landed.
Wah.
Hey, you're tough.
Yeah. So is the big dog, okay? Big dog, his yard. He's tough. Had a conversation about Roman Reigns on What's Phantom in Japan, which is available for download right now, the monthly New Japan podcast with myself and the world-famous Green Phantom. We talked about Roman Reigns, and we said, he's a tough guy. Maybe he'd be better off in New Japan. Maybe he'd be a better performer if he were out there, because big, tough Samoan guy, he can take a hit, he can hit hard, he's just not the most technical. Maybe he'd be better off in Japan. But then it would be a terrible career move because things are going pretty well for him in the States.
He got to wrestle AJ Styles. I think that was a much better career choice for him to wrestle AJ than go and wrestle Okada. That would have been a disaster for him.
Why?
Well, one, the language barrier. And two, it's too much. Like with AJ, at least he can catch up somewhat. AJ could help school him in it. I think Okada would just go in there and beat the crap out of him.
It'd be fun.
Well, it's how you destroy your talents.
Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega would be incredible. The best bout machine, Kenny Omega, would bring out something special out of Roman Reigns because he brings out something special out of everybody. Kenny Omega is the number one wrestler in the world today. He just is.
Yeah, it's very arguable, but okay.
Don't argue it. You're not watching his matches. Pay attention.
AJ's good, man. AJ's really good.
He's not Kenny Omega. He's just not. AJ's very good. I'm not going to deny he's very good. Kenny Omega is having better performances consistently.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Rusev.
We'll see what happens, AJ and Rusev. Is there a chance Rusev becomes the new WWE champion?
I don't think so. But
I think he might. I think he might. Maybe Rusev's getting the Jinder push. Jinder kind of came out of nowhere, and I remember when we were previewing Jinder versus Randy, and I was saying, I feel like they're doing something with Jinder. I think they're going to give him the title, and you're like, no way. There's Jinder, this is just a one pay-per-view deal. He's going to lose to Randy, and then that'll be it. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I think they're pushing Jinder. I think they're going to give him the title, and then they did, and we had to sit through it. But I feel like with Rusev, it'd be more fun. I'm not opposed to a Rusev title run. Put him on top as a monster on top of SmackDown. You can't take the title from him. Rusev, Daniel Bryan, Rusev, AJ Styles, Rusev, Jeff Hardy. There's good matches out there for Rusev as world champion.
How many times have you done this to yourself where you believe they're actually going to push Rusev? I feel like you keep doing this over and over, and they keep squashing you all the time.
Yeah.
Why do you do this to yourself?
Well, I don't think it's actually going to happen, but it's possible, man. I don't know. Last week I was less convinced, but this week I really liked Rusev's performance. He was really good on commentary. Rusev was on commentary on SmackDown this week during AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, right? They wrestled each other. It was a pretty good match. It ended by disqualification when Rusev interfered. Rusev and Shinsuke beat up on AJ after the match, and then Jeff Hardy showed up. And then Paige, of course, made a tag team match, because that's what you do on SmackDown.
Yep.
Playa.
Good.
And it was Rusev and Shinsuke beating AJ and Jeff Hardy. Rusev getting the win on Hardy, hitting him with the Machka kick for the 1-2-3. It was a lot of Rusev. I thought it was really good on commentary. I don't have high hopes for him. I don't think that they're going to put the title on him. It doesn't really feel like the time. But I wouldn't be mad at it if they did. It's not the worst idea. Rusev is very good. He's a very talented performer. I've said it for a very long time that he could be a guy that they center a show around. He could be a world champion. The fact that he's never been a WWE champion or Universal champion is kind of like, wow, really? They haven't given this guy the title yet? Bray Wyatt was WWE champion. Rusev deserves to be WWE champion, too. I mean, Dean Ambrose was WWE champion. Goodness. Rusev deserves it, too.
Here's a huge problem, though. When we were discussing what could possibly be the main event for Extreme Rules, AJ Styles, Rusev did not come up whatsoever, because we don't believe that's going to be the main event. And
for SummerSlam, you mean?
For Extreme Rules.
You mean main event the card.
Yeah.
It should, though. It's the WWE Championship. It's the biggest title on this card.
I have a hard time believing if it's not the main event, we're going to see a title change. That's why Nakamura, I didn't believe he was going to win the last man standing, not even the main event. I think it wasn't even the second to last match.
Yeah.
There's a problem there. It just goes to show you, as good as AJ is, he's not the top guy. And the championship is not the top prize, unfortunately.
Well, he's not the top guy in the WWE. Is he even the top guy on SmackDown?
I think he is, but it feels like Daniel Bryan is the top guy.
Daniel Bryan is the top guy on SmackDown. He just is. Because he's as good, if not a better wrestler than AJ Styles. And his promos are just way better.
I thought that promo this week wasn't that great. The Miz TV segment, not great.
I thought it was all right. Miz, trying to say that Kane and Bryan will implode on each other as a tag team. And, it's just more Bryan, Miz stuff. And Miz is, Bryan is like, Miz, you're terrible. You're trying to break Kane and me apart. You're terrible at this, just like you're terrible at everything you do. The only thing you do worse than this is wrestling. You're a terrible wrestler. I just like when Daniel Bryan tells Miz he's a terrible wrestler. I like when he does that on TV. It's good stuff. It's solid. It's a solid promo. Nothing but facts.
It was a solid line. The rest of the promo, not so much. And the brawling afterwards with New Day and Bludgeon, it just seemed very sloppy.
Well, it was just to set up the match. Who cares, I thought it was interesting that, Miz is involved in the promo, but he's not involved in the match that happens because of the promo. It's Miz TV with Daniel Bryan and Kane, but then the Bludgeon Brothers arrive, and Sanity shows up, and they start beating them up, and then the New Day shows up, and Miz is nowhere to be seen, and then the main event for SmackDown is Sanity and the Bludgeon Brothers against Team Hell No and the New Day. No Miz. Is Miz even wrestling at Extreme Rules? No, eh?
He is not, but this is what makes me believe he's going to cost Daniel Bryan and Kane the match at Extreme Rules.
Oh, okay. That would make sense. And then you do Daniel Bryan versus The Miz at SummerSlam. I think that's the match to make for SummerSlam. It makes sense.
Well, unfortunately, I know a lot of people want Team Hell No to win the tag team titles. I just don't see it happening.
I'd say hell no.
Say hell no.
I don't think that's going to happen. I enjoyed the 10-man tag, which is not a type of match I usually enjoy on SmackDown, but I thought it was pretty good because during every part of that match, you had a very solid wrestler in the ring. Every guy on the babyface team is excellent. Kane, Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, Big E, Xavier Woods. I could watch all 5 of those guys wrestle all day, and I'm happy with that. So, their opponents, whatever. But I thought the match was decent because you had just, that 5-man team, New Day and Team Hell No, that is a super team right there. That'll never be done again. It was a cool little spot.
The promo they did beforehand, they didn't get me excited for it whatsoever. I thought the Kane's line about, let's set them on fire and send them to hell, it just seemed like there's no creativity behind his lines anymore. They just throw out the same garbage all the time.
Well, I thought the finish of SmackDown was pretty creative, and it was a really fun way to end the show. After Team Hell No and New Day won, Daniel Bryan doing the yes up the ramp,
right?
Doing his yes thing.
Yep.
And they're posing there on the stage, Kane and Daniel Bryan. and Kane stands in front of Daniel Bryan, and he's like, I want to do it. Yes, yes. And the crowd goes along with him, and Kane's enjoying that. And then Daniel Bryan's like, wait a second. I want to do your thing. So he puts his arms up in the air and throws them down like Kane does to get the fire pyro going. And, of course, it doesn't work because he's not Kane. He doesn't have the power. And Kane's like, you can't do it. And Bryan's like, wait, let me try again. So Bryan tries again. Second time, hands in the air, boom, no pyro. He's like, all right, I can do it. So he summons the energy from the crowd. Kane's like, I don't think you can do it, Daniel Bryan. And Bryan's like, I can do it. And he's like summoning the energy. And then he lifts his hands up, brings him down, and boom, the fire comes out. And Kane's like, what? I can't believe you did that. And Bryan's like, yeah, I did it. I just thought it was very funny, man. I thought that was really funny stuff. When have you ever seen that before? It was a creative little 2-minute moment to finish the show that, ended SmackDown with a smile. Like, I was happy seeing that. I was amused. It made me laugh. And, I legit laughed. I was like, oh, that's funny. That's good. Daniel Bryan is such a great performer, and he doesn't even need to be wrestling or talking to entertain you. I mean, they didn't say really any words. They weren't on the microphone during that part, but that little bit at the end of SmackDown was some of the most fun stuff that they've ever done. It's just another great little bit of Team Hell No.
Well, that's it. Team Hell No. It's one of the best things in wrestling that we've seen in WWE in the last couple of years. And the fact that they're throwing this out again, I think they've been saving some ideas, and they're coming to fruition right now. And it's just great to see. And I think they realize, too, they have a limited amount of time, so they pretty much have to get it all out there now. And there isn't much to go with. It's just they're facing the Bludgeon Brothers. So they really have to depend on each other for the material. And I think there's enough between them, the history, that it's not that hard for them, it seems.
Yeah. There's a lot of meat there. They've had a lot of stuff together. They've both done a lot of stuff as individuals in the WWE. There's a lot to play with. And that pyro thing was just like a little bit, and it was cool. When have we ever seen anyone other than Kane do Kane's pyro?
I feel like he's had partners who have tried it or something, or imitated him somewhat.
X-Pac?
Maybe, yeah, kind of. Well, X-Pac did his own little thing, right? But it was kind of like in a tandem sort of thing, but not like this, not to this extreme.
It was good.
It was definitely one of the best points of WWE television this week.
It was my favorite part, I think. I think it was my favorite little bit of WWE TV all week.
It was good. It was really good. It's hard to say what was the best part, but I really didn't mind Raw or SmackDown at all this week. I know a lot of people thought Raw was the worst ever in history because of the ratings, but I didn't think it was that bad.
I didn't think it was that good.
I thought it started off really good. I was into the matches. I thought the Rollins, Ziggler, McIntyre promo kind of brought it down a bit.
Oh, it was pretty bad.
It was really
Especially
bad.
when Ziggler completely lost his place and didn't know what he was saying, and the crowd was like, oh, boo, boo. And they weren't booing him because he's a heel. They were booing him because he was cutting a terrible promo. That was really bad.
Yeah, that was awful. But
and moments like that are why Dolph Ziggler isn't where he wants to be. It's just he's good in the ring, but the character and the promos have never connected. Never.
Well, Rollins wasn't great either, talking about McIntyre and Sheep. Like, that was horrible stuff.
No, it was very bad. It was very bad. Rollins, again, to me, is not a good promo either.
But the match...
Neither is Drew McIntyre.
But the match was fine, though. I thought the match was actually really good.
What was the match?
McIntyre versus Rollins. That was the main event of Raw.
Right. I wasn't that into it.
Well, I don't think you'll be into the Iron Man match as well.
No.
But
You know what I thought was good? I think you might be surprised. Mojo Rawley and No Way Jose. I thought they put together a good stiff match on Raw. They looked like they were hitting each other pretty hard.
It was short.
It was short, but intense.
Yeah, but that's what you got to do. Make your minutes count. I think they did.
They really did.
Yeah.
I was entertained by that match from start to finish. which I didn't think I would be, you know? I want to get back to WWE Extreme Rules. We have some more predictions to make for this card. Who's going to walk out Raw Women's Champion? Will Osku wind up beating Carmella here with no Ellsworth to deal with? We'll get to that. It's Wrestling Uncensored right here on TSN 690.
Hey, this is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Curtis Axel, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Santino Marella, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
All right, welcome back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is our website here on TSN 690 every Saturday night, talking professional wrestling here with you. Check out our YouTube channel. I'll be live right after Extreme Rules on our YouTube channel, as I am after every WWE pay-per-view. YouTube.com/ringsidereport.net. YouTube.com/ringsidereport. DOTNET. So we have Ronda Rousey sitting ringside for the Alexa Bliss Nia Jax match. That one is Extreme Rules. You figure Ronda interferes, right? I mean, they're making a big deal of Ronda being there. There's no rules to this match. What does Ronda do here?
Costs Nia the match accidentally.
Okay. And allows Alexa to hold on to the title, and then we see a triple threat at SummerSlam. Nia, Ronda, Alexa.
Or singles. I could just see Ronda versus Alexa.
But if Ronda had this match that was not conclusive with the Nia Jax at Money in the Bank, right? There wasn't a clear finish, and Ronda winds up costing Nia the match at Extreme Rules, you can't really get rid of Nia that easily. I think it's a triple threat.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be mad either way. It just feels like Ronda in a singles role. That's what you want to see. You want to see her go against Alexa. I mean, you throw in Nia, it just complicates the matters. And it's kind of, well, is it an easier match or is it a harder match? Because Ronda could just be on the outside for a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's better if you have it a triple threat. And I think that you can't really get rid of Nia that easily. Now, Nia's actually starting to get over as a babyface pretty good. So I don't think you want to just disappear Nia from SummerSlam. I think you want to use her there.
But she's not the focus whatsoever. I mean, she's there, and yeah, people somewhat care, but really the focus is on Ronda and her going to get the championship.
I've been hard on Nia on this show, but I think you got to keep her around, and you got to reward her a little bit for that fantastic match that she had with Ronda Rousey. She's, right now, doing very well. I am warming up to Nia Jax, which I never thought would happen. But I'm starting to enjoy her more because I think she's becoming a better wrestler. She's learning. Takes time, but it happens.
Well,
Mark Henry didn't get good till 8 years in the business. But once he got good, he was really good.
I just feel that they put a lot of effort in practicing the match with Ronda. I just feel that's the way they invest in Ronda, that they'll put a lot of time into that. Just from what we've seen with Alexa versus Nia, it's not a good match. And I'm not looking forward to this match whatsoever. You can put over Nia as much as you want. I feel she does not deliver when it comes to the Alexa Bliss feud whatsoever.
I think Alexa could hit Nia with everything. Weapons, all sorts of stuff. And Nia can take it. She's big, she's strong, she's Samoan. Nia proved to me that she was tough in that match with Ronda Rousey. She took some shots from Ronda, and she just kept on going. I was impressed with Nia's toughness, and I think in Extreme Rules with Alexa Bliss, that toughness will be on display again.
See, I have a hard time believing that because it seems every time she wrestles Alexa, she's on her back most of the match. And that doesn't make a lot of sense when you look at the two of them. So I have a problem with that, mostly. And then the fact that it's just not exciting to watch at all.
I think this one will be different. I think you'll enjoy this more than you think you will.
Well, the expectations are extremely low, so it's not going to be hard to do that.
Well, I agree with you, though. I think Alexa retains due to some sort of faulty Ronda Rousey interference. AJ Styles and Rusev, I guess we both expect AJ to retain the WWE Championship here, right?
Yes, without question.
Yeah. How does he beat Rusev? Does he make him tap out with the calf slicer? Does he hit him with a Styles Clash? Does he hit him with the phenomenal forearm? What's the finish? Forearm, 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, can he hit the Styles Clash?
On Rusev, probably not.
Cool
Probably that phenomenal forearm. It'd be really cool if he hit him with Styles Clash, though, right? That'd be cool.
If he hits it, that'll be amazing. That should be the finish, but I see the forearm as the finish.
How about Carmella and Asuka? James Ellsworth suspended above the ring in a shark cage. Now, you're under the impression that this match will have no rules because the last shark cage match with somebody suspended had no rules?
Well, because didn't Braun interfere and cost Roman the match?
Yeah, I don't know.
In the end? And Jericho did escape the shark cage anyways.
Right.
And that didn't cause a DQ whatsoever. So
didn't Enzo Amore escape a shark cage at one point?
Yeah, there was that too, but they lost that one, though. That was Big Cass against Big Show.
Right.
Enzo in a shark cage. He escaped, but they still lost.
Right.
Actually, no, wasn't it Big Show with Enzo, I think? Against Big Cass,
yeah, against Big Cass, but Enzo was in the cage for some reason.
So Big Cass won the match, yeah.
Yeah. I think there'll be a time when we completely forget Big Cass and Enzo were ever in the WWE.
To me, Enzo is still one of the best talkers right now in wrestling, period.
He's not in wrestling.
He still exists.
He doesn't wrestle. He's not in wrestling.
He still exists online.
He exists. He's alive. He has a Twitter.
He's an artist.
He's a wannabe rapper. Can Asuka beat Carmella here? With no James Ellsworth, you would figure that Asuka should win, but I feel like they're not going to put Asuka with that championship right now. They're going to have Carmella cheat somehow and find a way to win.
It's really rough if Asuka doesn't win this match because I feel like Carmella's had most of the over. I mean, yes, Asuka did beat the crap out of Ellsworth 2 weeks in a row, but she was left laying 2 weeks in a row by Carmella. I don't think she's really gotten the over on Carmella whatsoever. So if she loses this as well, I just don't foresee her becoming a champion anytime soon. Because this is her last shot, in my opinion.
Yeah, if she doesn't win here, I don't know if they're ever going to put the title on her. I think they should put the title on her. It's Asuka, damn it. She should be champion, not Carmella. I mean, Carmella's got a good character and everything, but come on now. We know who the better wrestlers are on SmackDown, and Carmella really isn't up there. You got Charlotte, you got Becky, you got Asuka. Carmella's not really in the conversation as far as the best wrestlers on SmackDown.
And Becky's the throw-off because they've been pushing Becky, and it seems like she's going to be the next challenger for the SmackDown's Women's Championship.
Yeah.
So
it feels like that's where they're headed, and Asuka's just kind of a bump on the road to Becky Lynch versus Carmella.
It's too bad, but I look at it where I don't see any other title changes on this pay-per-view. Unless the Iron Man match, Seth Rollins would win.
I could see Nakamura taking the United States title from Jeff Hardy.
That's true, yeah.
I think that's going to happen. I got Shinsuke in that match. Kinshasa.
Okay, one title change.
When WWE goes Japanese, they go all the way Japanese. Remember the Royal Rumble? Shinsuke won, Asuka won. Maybe it's Japan's night once again. Shinsuke and Asuka. I'd be happy with that. They both deserve championships right now.
Again, if Asuka doesn't win here, she's not going to become SmackDown's Women's Champion. They're going to move on from her, so she has to win this Sunday.
But neither of us expect her to, right?
Unfortunately, no.
Huh. It's too bad. Will the B Team take the Raw Tag Team titles from Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt? Normally, I would say no, but Bray isn't really wrestling, right?
But he did appear, and they are going through this match.
He appeared. They're having the match, but in a tag team match, Bray doesn't actually have to wrestle. Matt could do the wrestling, and Bray could be on the apron and lose the tag team titles. And if Bray is hurt and he can't actually wrestle, the smart move would probably be to put the title on Axel and Dallas here.
Right. I just feel that they weren't the guys they wanted to put the titles on. They aren't the guys to beat the Deleters of Worlds. And if they can get through this match without a title change, they'll do it until they get to the ones who should beat the Deleters of Worlds, which will probably be Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
So
really, though?
Matt lost in
Are you really like that sold on the Authors of Pain? I'm not.
I am. And
Toka and Razar?
Yeah, the guys from Turtles, yeah.
That's what I call them. One guy's name is Razar, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the other guy's called, so he's Toka. I've always called them Toka and Razar. The Ninja Turtle guys, you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, exactly, from the Ninja Turtles movies. So if one guy's Razar, and I don't know the other guy's name, I just know that there's a guy named Razar, and I was like, Razar? What are they, Toka and Razar? And I think they came up just around the same time when Sheamus, I think, was playing Razar, or no, he was playing Bebop, right? Or Rocksteady?
Right.
One of those guys.
Bebop, I think.
But it was like Bebop and Rocksteady were the first ones, and then they had Toka and Razar later, right?
That was for the movie, because in the original movie trilogy for Turtles, they didn't have Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, they just had Toka and Razar for some reason. So yeah, Authors of Pain to me will forever be known as Toka and Razar. So good for the guy who's Razar, which, like, I don't know, they could both be Razar as far as I know. If you showed me a picture of Authors of Pain and be like, which one's Razar, which one's Toka, I couldn't tell you.
I want to say Razar is the taller one, but I'm not 100% sure either.
I thought they were both the same height.
I feel one's a little bit taller.
I feel like they're the same man, just twice.
One's also a little bit chunkier, too.
Are they twins?
Yeah.
They're twins?
I think so.
They're brothers?
Well, I don't know if they're brothers, but I think they're twins.
You can't be twins unless you're a brother.
The gimmick is that they're brothers. Like Edge and Christian. Like,
oh, is the gimmick that they're twin brothers?
Pretty sure. Like, I thought.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like Edge and Christian aren't brothers.
No,
I
know that. I know that. Adam Copeland and Jay Riso, they have different last names, so clearly not brothers.
But the gimmick was?
Yeah.
Against the Hardys?
Brother.
Yeah.
That's right, brother.
But, yeah, the Leaders of Worlds are going to win this.
I think the B team's going to win. I don't think the Authors of Pain are the big next challengers that you're making them out to be. I don't even know their names. You don't even know their names. You know there's Razar. You don't even know the other guy. You're going to start calling him Toka, too.
Oh, I know they dominate, and they're going to eventually be tag team champions sooner than later.
No. I don't think so. I don't have big aspirations for those guys. Like, maybe it'll happen, but right now I'm just not seeing it. Bludgeon Brothers against Team Hell No. I think the Bludgeon Brothers are going to retain the tag titles against Team Hell No. A lot of people expect Bryan and Kane to win, but I don't see that happening. I think this Bryan and Kane thing is going to be short-lived, and I think you might be right with Miz costing them the match here. But I could also see the Bludgeon Brothers just winning by pinning Kane, you know, because Kane is on his way back out. I could see him just losing to these guys to make them look stronger.
Or we're going Kane, Daniel Bryan. Kane's going to turn Daniel Bryan.
Nah, we're not doing that again.
Good. So, Miz, go with that.
Kane's a politician now. He's got to be a babyface. Turning on Daniel Bryan will lose votes. For real.
He would, yeah.
Look, people aren't that smart, man. They see Kane chokeslamming Daniel Bryan. They're like, wait a second. I'm not voting for this guy. How can he do that to Daniel Bryan?
He wore a mask. He's possessed when he's Demon Kane. So you could sell it like that.
Yeah. Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens. Do you think Kevin's going to win? I think he will. I think Kevin Owens wins this one.
I want to say Kevin's going to win, but it's tough to bet against Braun right now. I can't bet against Braun because he always wins.
I'm going with Kevin Owens. I'm hoping for the best. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre's in his corner, but Dolph Ziggler taking on Seth Rollins in this 30-minute Iron Man match. I think Ziggler will retain the Intercontinental title. I don't see Seth taking it back here. I don't really see a point in Seth taking it back.
Is this going to overtime?
No.
You don't want it to go to overtime?
No. I want it to be 5 minutes, not 30. I can't believe I have to sit through 30 minutes of Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins. I know some people are excited about it. You're excited about it. You have high hopes. I'm just like, man, I hope it's good, but I can't imagine 30 minutes of those two guys is going to be good. I'm not excited for it. I'm kind of dreading it. That's my least favorite match on this card, to be honest. I'm more excited for Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley than I am for Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins. Way more excited. I'm kind of hyped for Roman and Lashley. It's fun.
I don't know how good that's going to be. It just feels like...
Yeah, but what's the finish? Like, I care about the finish. The finish means something. The finish in Ziggler-Rollins, like, who cares? Ziggler's either going to still be Intercontinental Champion or Rollins will be Intercontinental Champion. Who cares? It means nothing. At least with Roman and Lashley, it's like a battle for supremacy of Raw. Like, the winner of this match is a top guy on Raw. That means something. The winner of this match probably gets the next shot at Brock Lesnar in the Universal title. The winner of this match gets to main event SummerSlam. Damn it, Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns should main event Extreme Rules. It's the most important match on this whole card. And Roman's going to go over the big dog. Hoo-ah! 1, 2, 3, spear, middle of the ring. Roman stands tall, the way it should be, brother. I'm embracing it, John. I'm just going full Roman now. Big dog. His yard, okay? His yard. It's not Bobby Lashley's yard. If Lashley wanted it to be his yard, he shouldn't have left the WWE 10 years ago to go be a star in the MMA. I like how Roman calls it the MMA. If you refer to it as the MMA, you're clearly not an MMA fan. Like, you clearly don't understand MMA and you don't watch UFC and anything. It's not the MMA. It's just MMA. But Roman's like, you wanted to go be a star in the MMA. It's like saying you wanted to go be a star in the basketball. MMA is the name of the sport. Like, it's weird. You want to go be a star in the football. It's like, what? Just say football, you know?
Actually, it's XFL. It's not anything else. It's just the XFL. That's what exists in WWE land.
Well, no. It's the UFC. It's the WWE. It's the XFL. It's the NFL.
Right.
But the sport, there's no "the" in front of it. You know what I mean? Like, when you say it, like, I'm going to go to the NFL or I'm going to go play football. Like, there's, you know what I mean? It's a different thing. The NFL, because it's the name of a league, but football is a sport. I don't know why.
I think if you're not familiar...
But don't call it the MMA. Call it MMA and the UFC, okay?
When you're not familiar with something...
Like Roman, obviously not familiar with MMA or grappling or any kind of actual, real submission wrestling at all.
That's why you get something like that.
Yeah, the MMA and the Revival. F the Revival, by the way. Who, showed up a lot on Raw over the past few weeks. Not at Extreme Rules. Do not miss them.
They were watching Matt Hardy's match against Bo Dallas, though.
Oh, my God. Maybe those guys are going to be the next tag team champions. Could be. So, Ziggler retains?
No, I'm going with Rollins, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's got to do something at SummerSlam.
So...
Wrestle Ziggler again.
Oof. Are we saying Shinsuke Nakamura, Kinshasa?
Yes.
So, Shinsuke, new U.S. champion. Do you like Roman Reigns to beat Bobby Lashley? He's got to, right?
I think Lashley has to win because we need to see Lashley versus Lesnar. This is the only chance we'll ever get to see this match.
We're not going to see it.
Well, that's a mistake. That's a huge mistake.
It's not happening.
We need to see this. I feel like there's going to be a screwy finish, and I feel like both guys are going to wrestle Brock, and it's going to be a four-way, I think.
That would make sense, but I could see Roman just winning clean, middle of the ring.
It's a huge mistake if they do that.
I don't know about that. Finn Balor, Baron Corbin. Finn should win here, but I feel like maybe Corbin will win.
Doesn't matter. I'm just going to say Finn just because I'm not big on Corbin and his new gimmick. But
yeah. They're pushing it, though.
They're pushing it, and they're not doing anything with Finn, so Finn kind of needs to win more than Baron.
I agree. Finn should be higher up on the card than where he is.
When you're stuck on Raw... and you're not Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins.
Or Bobby Lashley.
I'm not surprised where he is, actually.
Or Braun Strowman.
Not surprised.
Yeah. That's where he is on the pecking order. And finally, the New Day in the pre-show match against Sanity in a tables match. Could be good. I think Sanity will win. They need a win.
Well, it depends. Is this just one table and that's it? The match is over, or is it an elimination table?
I think it's just one.
Yeah, so not so much. I mean, it might be kind of fun, but... again, this is the kickoff show, so there's going to be commercials. And those kind of matches don't have a great flow to them. They maybe have one or two good spots, but then once it goes to commercial break, goes back from a headlock, it's like they have to get back into it again. And it's just, it's not great because it's a kickoff show. And
there better not be tags in this match.
Oh, that would be really bad if that's the case.
A tables match with tags? Could you imagine that?
I've seen it before.
How would that even work?
Oh, it's been done many times. It's been done on Raw a lot.
Has it?
The Dudleys used to always do it, and it sucked when they did it.
Yeah, it should be tornado tag.
You know, the Hardys wrestled the Dudleys in a steel cage with tags?
Ugh.
Terrible.
So stupid. And that wasn't in TNA.
Remember Evolution when they came back and wrestled the Shield in a no DQ match? What did they have to start the match?
Tags.
So stupid.
So stupid. Yeah, I don't want to see tags in this match. Nobody on the apron, everybody involved. And I would like to see elimination tables match where, like, every member of your team has to go through a table for you to lose. Where it could be like all three members of the New Day against Eric Young, and they just got to grab him and put him through a table because the two other guys have been eliminated. That's what I want to see. That's the most fun way of doing this match. Tornado tag, elimination, tables match. So it's all 6 guys, and you see multiple guys going through tables. It's a car crash of a match. It's a lot of fun. It's the way to go. That's how you book it. Very simple.
If they cared about the kickoff show, they'd probably do something like that. Get people interested. Get people wanting to watch the kickoff show. But I feel they don't really care. It's just get it done over with. Something for the crowd to get into it that's already there, that came in advance. That's it.
Who's going over?
I'm going to say New Day because it feels like Sanity, they just lose.
Yeah, maybe New Day does go over here. Sanity should win because they're a new group and they kind of need it, but yeah, the New Day is the best, so maybe not.
It's just a table bump, too. It's not a pin.
Yeah. When's your next match? When can people see you in the ring? Still don't know? What's the
Still
deal?
don't know.
What?
But I'll let you know when I know.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Follow him on Twitter at North Genesis. If you want to book him on your wrestling show, go on Twitter, follow him, and ask him, hey, man, are you available on this date? And he may be available. He probably will be, right?
Possibly, yes.
You got a semi-open calendar right now. At North Genesis, you could book him. Genesis Johnny North on Instagram. You could follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Dave Simon MMA. WrestlingUncensored.net is our website, and you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, on Google Play, on WrestlingUncensored.net, on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. We are on all the platforms, every show available for download. All the info on our website, WrestlingUncensored.net. A big thanks to Marco and Jimmy back at TSN 690 for helping us out, and a big thanks to you for listening. For Johnny North, I'm Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.